This book is nonfiction. The title is Action: How Movies Began. It is written and illustrated by Megan McCarthy and read to you by Ms. Kaufman. Movies. They take us on adventures, send us back in time, and introduce us to new people and places. They allow us to peek into the life of the 16th century's Queen of England or step into the colorful excitement of the 1970s disco craze. They can spark joy, sadness, and even fear. We can't imagine our world without them. When did movies start? Who invented them? The evolution of the moving picture is a long journey with many people adding a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Throughout most of the 1800s, photography required considerably longer exposure times. Therefore, a freeze-frame photo of motion wasn't possible. Art, such as this painting, was the only way people could imagine a horse running while frozen in time. The question is, did the artist get it right? Leland Stanford, a wealthy horse owner and once governor of California, didn't think so. Even though by the 1870s camera exposure times had shortened, the question of what a horse's running gait looked like had not been answered. Stanford asked Edward Muybridge, who was a well-known nature photographer, to help him solve the mystery. Muybridge set up a row of cameras with threads that stretched across a track. When the horses broke the threads, snap, 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 the cameras recorded a series of photos. This is one example. Does the horse look the same as the one in the painting? Thomas Edison, the famous inventor, met with both Muybridge and Mary. Edison knew he could make a better invention than theirs. One of Edison's advantages was that he had a team of employees working for him. He assigned the project to inventor and photographer William Kennedy Dixon. After much work, Dixon came up with something called a kinetograph, used to record motion, and a kinetoscope used to play back this motion. The motion was recorded on something called film. Below is what the inside of a kinetoscope looks like. You can visit a kinetoscope in a museum today. The one shown here is in West Orange, New Jersey. The kinetograph was quite heavy, so it couldn't be transported outside. Therefore, Edison's team erected a building in which to use the new invention. When the men turned the crank, the roof opened. Inside, Edison and his team created something magical. They created motion pictures. 1 year later, the first kinetoscope parlors opened. Inside these parlors, curious viewers peered into wooden boxes and watched slices of life animated for the first time. This is what they saw. Brothers Auguste and Louis Lumiere, whose family owned a large photography supply company in France, set off to invent a cheaper and lighter film camera. The Lumieres thought watching films should be a group experience, so in addition to the camera, they invented a projector to share their films with the world. Their first public screening was in 1895. Here are some of the films shown that year. Back in the United States, Edison Manufacturing Company created one of the first hand-tinted films in 1895. It plays with movement and color. The Lumiere brothers tried this technique for themselves. As time went on, films got better, but something was missing. Sound. Although the filmmaking time period was called the silent era, it was hardly silent. A pianist or even an orchestra would accompany the soundless films. Since the movies were silent, cards with hand-lettered type were cut into scenes to communicate dialogue. They looked like this. I'm Emma Jane Perkins, and we've got 7 cows. The year was 1913. We need some gags here, said a director to a young English-born Charlie Chaplin. Put on comedy makeup. Anything will do. Chaplin said of his costume, I wanted everything a contradiction. The pants baggy, the coat tight, the hat small, and the shoes large. And just like that, one of the most memorable characters of the silent era was born. Another actor, named Buster Keaton, was called a stone-faced comedian. Whatever happened around him, his expression never changed. The more seriously I took my work, he once said, the better laughs I got. Keaton's acrobatic skills and risk-taking make for jaw-dropping viewing even to this day. There were no special effects in the 1920s. In this scene, Keaton did the stunt himself. No wires attached. He missed the building and fell into a net off-screen, badly bruising himself in the process. Even today, some actors do their own stunts. Although Tom Cruise was attached to a wire, he missed the building and broke his ankle. Cruise and Keaton both illustrate a daring quality that makes them riveting to watch. Here you can see how one iconic movie scene inspired others. In this scene, comedian Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle sticks forks into 2 dinner rolls and makes them dance. Chaplin does the same thing. Watch Johnny Depp do his own excellent rendition. In the United States, during what was called the Roaring '20s, prejudice was quite apparent. People of color were rarely included in mainstream movies. An African-American actress by the name of Josephine Baker decided she'd had enough. She packed up her things and moved to France. I felt liberated in Paris, she said. There, she became a star. Actresses like Baker, with her beauty, humor, and large stage presence, paved the way for the stars of today. In 2018, a Marvel movie titled Black Panther, with a majority black cast, was a smash hit. This is something Baker could have only dreamed of. In 1925, The Phantom of the Opera was released. During this time period, it was popular to use dyes to color parts of the films. The Phantom of the Opera effectively uses colors to create moody atmosphere using pinks, yellows, greens, and blues. One of the earliest science fiction films that is still appreciated to this day is Metropolis. Metropolis's innovative sets and costumes are a feast for the eyes. The robot on the left is named C-3PO. Does he look familiar? 1 year after Metropolis was released, an all-talking movie called Lights of New York hit theaters. No one had watched a movie like this before. Imagine hearing your favorite actor speak for the first time. Imagine hearing city sounds for the first time. Traffic, A crowd of people, the dings of a trolley car? What would you think? The sound of Lights of New York wasn't perfect, but people wanted more. Moviegoers began using the word talkies, short for talking movies, as in, I'm going to a talkie today. Almost a century later, the movie Lion, which takes place in India, was released. In it, you hear a train horn, hordes of people chattering and rushing this way and that, eerie chimes and unintelligible announcements echoing through a concrete space. One movie inspires another, which inspires another. Next time you watch a movie, think of all the people who tried something new and pushed the boundaries of what is possible. Movies will continue to inspire us for generations to come, and we have all the inventors, actors, writers, and directors to thank.